What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, August 10th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
Hola.
every day when I do it and you make eye contact, I feel like I'm annoying you.
You're not. You're not. I'm trying to think of something creative to say, and then I stumbled in the moment because I haven't finished my coffee yet, so I apologize. That's my fault.
No, it's fine. Another good mug, another good outfit. You have lots of good outfits. It's as if you've been on camera a lot.
You know, I may have a closet full of on-camera outfits.
I got to have a conversation with Nick, is that now that I'm doing this and I'm wearing the shirt and tie every day, I got to buy more shirts and ties. Because I've left shirts at home because I wear shirts out. You know what I mean? I can't bring my entire collection here, my entire wardrobe. But that leaves us with 5 shirts here, and that just doesn't seem right.
But you do it 5 days a week. You could get a nice little rolling rack here in the office, get a little wardrobe going. That's what I used to do.
I think I pick up 2 or 3 more, and then I'm up to 8 shirts. That seems good. I think those will be
as long as you have a nice collection of ties that you can rotate with it.
Sure.
As a man, you can get away with that.
Yeah, of course. No, it's way easier for me. I just, whatever, wear whatever. Up at noon, we had like 1 suit forever. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday here on a variety of platforms, we come to you with the nerdy video game news you need to know about. We jump into it, we get dirty with it, we answer your questions, we read your bad PSN names if you submit them, and we have a good time. If you like that, you can consume the shows in the following fashions. Number 1. Watch it as we record it on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We don't jump into the chat because we're making a polished podcast. So if you want to correct us on anything, we need you to go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. At the end of the show, we go through your corrections, make sure the record is set straight. Or you can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or listen on podcast services around the globe. No matter where you get it, thank you so much for your support. Please subscribe to the other platforms just to help the numbers. Share it with your friends. Talk about it. Maybe go to Patreon. Do whatever the hell you got to do. Housekeeping. Over on youtube.com/kindafunnygames right now, there is the full play of Batman, The Enemy Within, episode 1 with Troy Baker and Anthony Grouper. That's Batman and the Joker and me. So go watch that if you want to go see why I think this Batman season is pretty awesome already. For now, though, Andrea, let's begin the show with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. Time for some news! Kevin, I think it was better because your beard wasn't in the way to stop it. You know what I mean? There are 6 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen!
Andrea.
Yes.
As a trophy fanatic, this scared me for my Xbox brethren. There are changes coming to the Xbox achievement system. I'm going to read a section of the Windows Central interview. This was with Xbox platform corporate VP Mike Yarnum.
Cool, Greg. Can you please grab my charging cable? For some reason, I only have 17% battery, and if I'm going to make it to kindafunny.com/you're wrong,
we need that juice.
I need my battery.
I'm glad.
Cable, something.
No, I need electricity.
Something.
While that happens, I'll read you this article because it's a doozy. It's a hike, I should say. Windows Central has an interview with Xbox platform corporate VP Mike Ybarra in it. Since the invention of Xbox achievements, games simply reward gamer score for tackling specific objectives tallied into a single number. Ybarra noted that perhaps this isn't always the best way to show off a gamer's achievements, particularly with the rise of esports, where an Xbox gamer might actually be contracted to play a single game all day, every day, training for competitions. While Ybarra wasn't able to go into full details, he noted that the Xbox team is working on something that, quote-unquote, fundamentally changed the concept of Xbox achievements with the aim of highlighting gamers' histories and accomplishments to complement, not replace, the gamer score system. Quote, this is Ybarra, "Those are all small things that we can do to the system, and the team looks at them. They're in our backlog of things we want to get done, but there's actually bigger, more bolder changes that we have in mind. Nothing I can talk about now, but something that fundamentally changes the concept. We are working towards a bigger, more meaningful change about somebody's gaming accomplishments in history as a gamer on Xbox. We can do a lot more to reflect and let people show their gaming history and their status. Whether it's somebody who plays multiplayer in Halo 5 at a professional level, maybe they only have 2,000 gamer score, you want to be able to celebrate that person. You want people to be in the know that this person doesn't play a lot of games, but they're the top 10 in the world at Halo. All the way to people with over 1 million gamer score. It's that range that we really need to look at and celebrate. We're going to go big in the area of letting people show off and represent their gaming history and the type of gamer they are, far more than we do with gamer score." What do you take away from all that, Andrea? The score is still there, but it's sounding like it's not going to be as important or as celebrated as much as maybe they're so big on pinning things. Maybe I'm pinning, hey, this is what I got 1,000 points in Halo 5 or whatever. So I'm pinning this or how many hours I've done or something. I don't know. There's a million ways it could go. What do you think it's going to be?
I have no idea, but this must be something that's incredibly frightening to people who do have 6 or 7 figures of gamer score.
Yeah.
People that have been legacy Xbox players for a really long time who play specifically to get gamer score. But sometimes change is good.
Yeah.
It's scary at first and you're angry about it, but then after you get a chance to really take a look at it and settle in, you're like, actually, this is not so bad. Maybe this is better. I hope that they are working with their community and maybe looking for feedback from their, most active users about what they would like to see or to pitch ideas to them before they just make the change.
It's interesting because as a brethren to this, as a trophy whore, right? I understand where it's coming from in the way that, as shitty as it sounds, when I would play DC Universe Online over and over again, or even right now when I continue to play Marvel Heroes and I know I'm not really progressing towards a trophy anytime soon, it is that thing of, I feel in a way sometimes, I'm wasting my time. In the fact that I'm enjoying this experience, but I could be playing something else that I know I need to and I want to enjoy that would give me that more reward right off the bat. I think it's an interesting way, what seems to be the theme of the show recently, of these games as services. Of like, if you're going to invest 1,000 hours into Paragon, you can only take that so far in terms of the trophy list. And somebody who...
There isn't even a trophy list. Not yet.
Oh my God. Why? Why, Andrea?
I don't know.
Why would you do this? But this is a good example all the same, right? Of like, okay, cool, that's turned off for some people. But if there were built-in base... not achievements, but I guess badges of the fact that like you've played this for this many hours and you can pin that to a profile or show it somewhere, have it shown off that way. I understand where that would be like, okay, that's its own reward in its own way. And I think it speaks to what I was talking about earlier. And granted, this was you and me being like, we don't use Xbox as much this generation, but like where I feel like achievements have been pushed off to the side and hidden behind stuff, whereas before they were way more in your face and this is what it is. And so I like the idea of, as the video game landscape continues to shift and people are sitting down with Dota or Paragon or whatever game and just sinking 1 million hours into that, they need to rethink rewards because, and that through that lens, gamer score and achievements aren't really helping.
Exactly. And the way that people play games is changing, and with so many more games than ever before, you don't necessarily get to spend as much time with each individual game. So maybe you only get the introductory achievement scores, which are usually pretty low versus, the more rare ones, which are worth increasingly more. Maybe you don't have time to get to those and you play a little bit of a lot of games instead of a lot of a few games. Yeah. And so I think it's great that Xbox is taking a look at that and how to reward those players as well.
It's interesting though, like you said, it's definitely speaks to that kind of player. It speaks to people who are jumping around doing different things. But then what will this mean to the people who do have 6-figure scores, that do put so much time and so much of their value of what their Xbox profile is into their achievement, score, their gamer score?
I don't know. Did Major Nelson make a public statement about this?
I haven't seen anything yet. I'm sure if it is, it's just, don't worry about it. It's too early to say or anything like that. I'm more worried about the crazy people. Like me with trophies. You crazy achievement people. What do you think of all this stuff? Midnight Owl wrote in, kind of piggybacking off this, and says, hey, Greg and Andrea. Xbox have announced Xbox has announced plans to revamp their achievement system to let people show off and represent their gaming history and the type of gamer they are far more than we do with Gamerscore. It's another small change to the Xbox ecosystem that is cool. No matter how many times they pull a neat trick like this though, the question still remains, where are the first party games? If you were a betting man, have fun in Vegas. How many games do you think Xbox are holding out on announcing? They've set themselves up to have a very strong launch with the next Xbox, but do you think this will make any difference if they don't have a strong lineup? Love the show and can't wait for PS I Love You XOXO every week. Ow. What's going on with Xboxes and their first party and their exclusives, Andrea? Where are they at?
I wish I had a good answer.
Yeah.
This is, the question I think that came out of E3 was like, where are the AAAs? Where are the things that are going to sell Xbox One X?
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of came down, a little hard on them after their press conference, because I said, Forza looks beautiful. Forza is great. It's been a staple of Xbox for a long time, but I don't think that game is going to push Xbox One X units.
Sure.
Right? So where is the game that's going to do that for them? And I don't know. I don't even know if it's a first party title unless they're going to, reinvest in a new IP in a really big way. I mean, look at what PlayStation did with Horizon and with Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen that on the Xbox side yet.
My concern, and I don't know if it's a concern even, one of my hypotheses on what's happening over there with these, where are the AAA exclusives, right, is the fact that I think as much as it sucks, Xbox realized they lost this generation. And so when you talk about Halo, the next Halo, and you talk about the next Gears, and you talk about the next big AAA franchise from them, I wouldn't be surprised if those are in production for sure, and they were waiting for the launch of the Xbox 2 or whatever the next real Xbox is. Because no, I'm not even trying to take a pop shot at Xbox One X. It's the PlayStation 4 Pro again, which is fine and cool, and it's going to get people in. But I feel like that's not going to, people aren't going to look at the Xbox One X and go, oh, holy shit, now's the time to buy. I've been waiting, and there's this library of games that doesn't exist that I need to jump into. However, if you go the Dreamcast route and jump way ahead and like, all right, in 2 years we get the next Xbox, the real next Xbox. This is what, again, it'll be an incremental upgrade, but hey, this is the Xbox. And you take all these announcements they've made, their changes of gamer scores, the way the Xbox game library, Games Pass works, the fact we're going to get to here in a second with the Xbox Live Creators Program, all these good gamers first, backwards compatibility, all these awesome announcements Xbox has made, and then you lay on a launch lineup, or at least a launch year that is similar to Nintendo, right? Of like the games and franchises you've been waiting for, here they are. They're coming out this way. And that's kind of, you got to kind of look, I feel like, at the Xbox One. Stick with me, not that it's doing as badly, or a bad period. It's selling really well. And if PlayStation 4 wasn't moving so many units, everybody would be like, oh, this is a runaway success. Everything's fine. It reminds me of the Wii U in an extent of like, all right, cool. Wii U didn't do what we wanted it to do or needed it to do. So rather than put out Zelda, even though we promise this is a Wii U game, let's wait and put on the next one and, simultaneously launch and do all these different things. But I think that's how Xbox could win the goodwill and get a jump start on what the next generation is and get people to buy these units.
Can I float a crazy idea?
I'd love to hear it.
I think they need a really giant partner AAA title. They need a publisher that doesn't care about it not being on PlayStation. So who would that be? The only person that I thought of, and I was like, you know what Xbox really needs, what they could really just like run away with, is if Valve brought one of their tentpole 3 games that we talked about yesterday that they didn't announce. And they were like, this is going to be an Xbox One X console exclusive.
Sure.
Also available
on Steam.
On Windows.
Yeah.
Right? Because Valve doesn't care how many PS4s are in the world.
Sure.
They have Steam.
Yeah.
They don't need the PS4s. And so it would make sense in this hypothetical scenario that I've created that
in this magical world,
if Xbox is going to come back and like, now are you saying lay it on the table?
Are you saying for this generation or whatever comes next?
I'm talking either Xbox One X or the next console.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Because like Xbox One X has at least like a 5-year cycle in front of it, right? We hope. And so they still have time to get in on this generation for Xbox.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily need to look that far in advance. I don't think we're within 2 or 3 years of a new Xbox.
See, my argument on why they would be is I think that, especially with the way they revealed or first mentioned Xbox One X when it's still Scorpio at E3 last year, right? So E3 2016, when they mention it and they have the video and it's everybody like, holy shit, blah. And like, we all were like, oh, fuck, this seems like a real thing. And I remember at the time it was like, this is how you do it, PlayStation, not the way you've done it. And then PlayStation 4 Pro came out and it was, wow. Or they buy it begrudgingly. They're like, all right, fine. And then we got to the Xbox One X and it was like, oh, this is just like the Pro or whatever. And I feel like with that, this is just an incremental upgrade and it looks better on TV, works fine for PlayStation when you're the runaway success and people have been maybe waiting or do want to upgrade and do whatever. When I bought my Xbox One at launch and it's sat there and I enjoy what I've played on it, but I'm not motivated to buy a PS4 Pro, let alone to go buy an Xbox One X. And the fact that folks in the industry who are Xbox people, like I'm a PlayStation person, Ryan McCaffrey, is like, oh, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't need my games to look that much better. He's saying the exact same thing I am. It shows the disconnect on how it is. And I think when you're Xbox and you want to make up ground or you want to get the goodwill behind you or you want to move units, that's why I think you go in 2 years, you're like, okay, we start messaging the fact that Xbox One X is just, it's an upgrade. It's a thing you want. It's there. It's convenient if you need it and does all the different stuff. And then you come out in faster than PlayStation, hopefully. Or if again in my world, when I'm in Seattle, Washington, inside of the Xbox building, I'm saying, all right, cool, let's get it out there as soon as possible and let's blow people away. And hey, here are all the exclusives. Let us remind you of all the great gamer first decisions were made. And yeah, we have Valve on board.
Like, I mean, it would be cool, but I said it's a crazy scenario. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but wouldn't it be awesome if it did?
I mean, the other when you said that, right, the thing I jumped to that PlayStation's finding so much success with is the fact of where's the Xbox exclusive Marvel game? Like, you know what I mean? I thought that when they announced Avengers and didn't talk platforms, I was like, that could be interesting. What if that was Xbox's counter offer to Spider-Man or something like that to play nice with everybody? But that doesn't seem to be the case because, again, nobody said anything, and maybe they're waiting for something else. And then it is the fact that, like, we've seen, and I understand what you said, you put an asterisk on there, which was needed, obviously, of like, that doesn't care about PlayStation. Like the Tomb Raider, right? Tomb Raider and the Rise of the Tomb Raider especially the first time around was like a big deal. Like, oh shit, Tomb Raider's rebooted. It looks and plays awesome, and it is console exclusive to Xbox.
Well, I think Square Enix is an interesting case because they have had a long relationship and history with PlayStation throughout the years, and so I think they were maybe in a better position to say, "Hey, we're doing all this business with you over here. We're going to give this one to Xbox."
Sure.
But not many publishers are in that place.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting, fascinating. Write in kindoffunny.com/KFGD. Let us know what you think about Xbox and what they should do next. Of course, we won't talk about it tomorrow, Bachelor Party Vegas. Number 2 on the Roper Report, I mentioned it briefly there. The Xbox Live Creators Program is live right now. This is via Xbox. Back in March, we unveiled the Xbox Live Creators Program. Starting today, I'm excited to announce that any developer can directly publish their games to Xbox One and Windows 10. And the first wave of games from the Creators Program are live right now for everyone on Xbox One and Windows 10 PCs. This is an important step for Team Xbox as we continue to deliver a large, diverse lineup of games from creators big and small around the world. Just want to put that on your radar because, again, I think it's another marble to put on the scale in terms of what Xbox is doing. And I think they're doing so much right, whether it be backwards compatibility, whether it be Games Pass, whether it be this of like, hey, we are a machine that is built around you playing games. And then hopefully this new update makes it look like that too when you turn it on, as we were talking about. Number 3. Nearly 2 years after Fallout 4 came out, it's getting Game of the Year edition. You put this in here.
I did.
I had this under new games.
Oh.
Andrea Renee.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Let's read about it here. That's what we do. From Bethesda, all the latest gameplay updates, including survival mode, graphic enhancements, the ability to play mods for free on the PC and consoles, plus all official add-ons included. Of course, this is the winner of more than 200 Best Awards. It comes with all the DLC you'd expect, including the 6 add-ons, Nuka World, Vault Tech Workshop, Contraptions Workshop, Far Harbor, Wasteland Workshop, and Automatron. The Game of Year edition will be available September 26th on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Plus, they're bringing the Pit Boys back to celebrate the Game of the Year edition. Bethesda will release a limited quantity of Fallout 4 Game of the Year Pit Boy Collector's Editions exclusively in North America at select retailers. The Pit Boy edition includes Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition and will retail for $99.99 USD and will also release on September 26th. What's weird about it is it's been so long.
Yeah, normally it comes out within the first year because that's why you can call it a Game of the Year edition because it's been awarded the Game of the Year award. I don't know why this is coming out later, but who cares? It's great for people who haven't played it.
Yeah, Fallout 4 is a lot of fun.
You know?
Were you a big fan?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I never actually got to the final main mission because there's just so much other stuff to do in that world.
Right, yeah.
But I played quite a bit of it. It's on my to-do list. Like the case is on top of my Xbox.
Oh yeah. So
to go back
remind yourself to play.
Go back and play it. But there's just so much new stuff to play.
No, Fallout 4 is one of those. It was just exactly what we wanted and not more, if that makes sense. Where it was like, oh, I want what Fallout 3 look like on PlayStation 4 and or Xbox One. You got it. And you're like, oh, cool, that's what it was. And I feel like that burned it in some regard where it doesn't get talked about like we talked about Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. But I had a great time with it, platinumed it. I tried to jump into the DLC, but for me it was that, which is why it's interesting they're making the collection. Too much time had passed. Where I jumped back in, I was like, what save am I on right now? What choices did I make? And it wasn't that with Fallout 3, I remember who I was with and who I was doing things for. And here you got in there. I was like, I don't. Tried to play Far Harbor. I was like, all right, enough of that. While we're here, now we're getting crazy. There's also a new date for Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen. This is going to be coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on October 3rd. This is the original Dragon's Dogma game, along with all the content from its expansion, Dark Arisen. I throw that in here because I want to kick it over to Daniel McCrory. Or maybe it's McCrory. I don't know. Daniel wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, Dear Greg and Andrea, with the announcement of Fallout 4 Game of the Year Edition 2 years after the game was released, oh, that's a period. That's not a full statement. And with all these definitive, complete, ultimate, and whatever the other generic words they can shove on a game title, don't you feel it's goddamn time we standardized a word for DLC complete versions of a game? P.S. I love this show. It helps my mornings at work fly by. Lots of love, Daniel. So he's saying Game of the Year Edition, Complete Edition, Ultimate Edition, whatever. Do we need to pick one and just run with it, Andrea?
No.
I agree.
We don't.
My whole thing
That's
is like,
the short answer.
Doesn't Game of the Year stress what it is? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess
And
there's
very few games can say that they're Game of the Year.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's the difference between definitive and ultimate, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you have won Game of the Year awards, you should get to claim that you have a Game of the Year edition. You deserve to take in that praise. Absolutely.
And I think definitive and ultimate, you understand what it is. It's the fact that, hey, everything's done. Here it is in one package.
Well, and it doesn't make sense to have a standardized definition because none of these editions have standardized contents. Some include all DLC, some include partial DLC, some include all DLC and new DLC that hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it doesn't make sense to have a standardized edition. So sorry,
Daniel. Shove it up your ass.
Well,
Number 4 on the Roper Report. No, that was everybody. Andrea said that.
I did not.
At number 4, Tales from the Borderlands was a failure to Telltale. At least that's via Campo Santo Quarterly. It's a podcast interview or oral history thing over there where they talk to a bunch of people who made the game. I thought it was interesting for 2 bullet points. Number 1, they talk about in there, the idea was to give Gearbox fully fleshed out characters that they could use in Borderlands 3 or other Borderlands property. So having Reese and Fiona and the whole cast be able to pop up in other games over there and be like, there's a fan following to them and there is this stuff, which I think there is, but I'll get to that in a second. And then on the show, or the oral history, writer Nick Herman says sales weren't great by the end of its run. Sales weren't great by the end of the run of the thing, and that it was perceived as a failure. I wanted to bring this up because that fucking sucks. Tales from the Borderlands is fucking awesome.
I want to know what the total sales to date are because I didn't go back and play that entire game until over a year after it was released. Yeah. So clearly Gearbox is tracking all of the sales. I wonder if they still consider it, if Telltale, I mean, because I guess Gearbox is probably not tracking the sales. Telltale is. Yeah. If they consider that to still be a failure sales-wise.
And that's the thing, too, is can you Google for me? I'm pretty sure Nick Herman, it was Nick and it was Pierre and someone else are the ones who, within this calendar year, moved on from Telltale over to Ubisoft. So, I mean, at the time, you're probably talking about the game as it launches, what you expected I guess, Borderlands/Telltale game to do in that moment of, Jesus, was that 2 years ago? A year ago? Well, I mean, I would hope the perception is based on the fact that you're not there where it is now. You don't see it. You don't get the fan mail because the amount of Reese's and Fionas I see at PAX cosplaying up, the amount of people I talk to who play Telltale games and love Telltale games or played this one and say that this is their best work. This game was, the acting was great. The story was awesome. It was funny. Like
it's one of Telltale's best games for sure.
The story I was talking about this, right, is that I downloaded it. Like Telltale announces anything and I'm like, all right, cool. I like Telltale games. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And like for Game of Thrones, no, I don't like Game of Thrones enough. I played episode 1. I was like, I'm good. I don't need to do this. Yeah, I mean, I want to give it a shot. And then it was that I downloaded Tales from the Borderlands and it sat on my PS4 cross media bar forever. And it was like 3 weeks after launch, which is so rare. Like, right, Batman came out, I played it night 1. I played it the day before.
Batman.
Exactly. Well, yeah, but Telltale's usually operating in my wheelhouse of things I really, really fucking care about. Yeah. Walking Dead, Batman. And so I was like, whatever. And I was having a bad night. I was grumpy after work and I was going through and I kept trying different games. It was one of those where the game I wanted wasn't out yet. You know what I mean? How that is when you get in those like, oh man, 10 days to the release of X. So I was jumping around, couldn't find anything I wanted. Finally, I jumped into this and 10 minutes in, I was laughing out loud. Like it really turned my entire night around. I was like, fuck, like that's rare for a video game I have no expectations for it. And then it's hilarious. Games aren't funny all the time. Like usually they balance it, but the game's funny. The characters are great. Like, I love Tales from the Borderlands. When it was a free PS Plus game a couple months ago now, I was like, everybody pick this up. You have no more excuses. This is a great game. And so, yeah, I wonder, and this, you brought up a good point too of like, I thought this is a good discussion piece because it was that, internally it was perceived as a failure. What are those sales and then what does it mean? And you brought up the time that Square, was like, well, if this game doesn't sell 6 million copies or whatever, it's not going to be a success. And this comes up so often where you guys write in and said, okay, Horizon only sold whatever it was, 3 point something million, right? And you're like, does Sony consider that a failure? Is that a success to them? And I think it's that sliding scale. And it is those projections beforehand of like, we think a game that has this title, this thing is going to make this much money.
It's tough to really kind of get a grasp on it because what we know outwardly is so much different than the conversations that are happening, behind closed doors for these publishers and what their expectations are, what the development team's expectations are versus what the shareholders' expectations are. And from a fan perspective, I think a game is a success if it's not broken, if it's got good story and good mechanics and, the servers work. I don't think we as fans look at a game and go, oh, well, it only sold 200,000 copies, so clearly it was a failure.
Sure.
It's weird because some games that are really big and really great don't sell very much, but I don't think that should matter. It sucks when that makes properties go away, when there's an expectation that's set behind the scenes by the people who hold the purse strings at the publishers that go, well, that didn't sell as much as you said it was going to in your projections, so I guess we're not making any more of that.
And you have to wonder if that's part of this too, not in a bad way, but I mean the fact that it was Telltale using Gearbox's property, having 2K involved with this, right? Mm-hmm. And so Gearbox and 2K, I assume, haven't. This is how much Borderlands 1 sold. This is how much Borderlands 2 sold. This is how the pre-sequel's done. They have all these statistics that they're gleaming on, like, well, this is what a Borderlands game should sell, we think. So let's dial that back. This is what we think a Telltale game sells. There's got to be the in-between, blah, blah. And then if it fails to meet that in-between or doesn't meet what a normal, in quote, Telltale game sell, there's got to be math in there. And then it is the different sides of, well, it's not a first-person shooter, right? Because that was my thing. When they announced Tales from the Borderlands, I'm like, what a dumb fucking idea. Like, I love Borderlands, but I don't care about like the Borderlands story. Like and Telltale is all about story. And I'm like, how are they going to be able to make me jump into this world of farts and weird shit and what is it, the weird unicorn thing and Handsome Jack and make me actually care about these characters? And then they did it, and it was like, oh fuck, like I love this for so many reasons that I don't love the Borderlands games for, even though I love those. It's an interesting thing. I hope we get more one day. I hope they don't think it's a failure. You did good, Telltale and Gearbox and 2K. Don't hate yourselves. Number 5, a follow-up, Andrea, because we talked about this before. NBA Live 18 continues to try to fight this NBA 2K. I'm going to read the GameSpot story, but before I do that, we talked about it on a couple shows ago. The fact that they're putting, NBA Live is putting in WNBA players. Correct. Because, of course, NBA 2K, this juggernaut, that how do you stop it, how do you fight it? They put in WNBA, and then they have this. I'm going to read from GameSpot. Electronic Arts is once again attempting to revive the NBA Live series this year. Today, EA announced the details of an upcoming demo and revealed that NBA Live 18's cover NBA Live 18's cover star. But more interesting is a sizable discount being offered. Anyone who pre-orders NBA Live 18 will get 33% off, dropping its price in the US from $60 to $40. That's an unusual offer for any company, and certainly not the type of thing you'd expect to see from EA. But it's a smart move given the dominance of NBA 2K the NBA 2K series has over the market. An edge in price can only help boost the sales, as EA found out over a decade ago when competitors like NBA 2K5 and NFL 2K5 were released for only $20. On top of this, NBA Live 18 launches on September 15th, 4 days before NBA 2K18. This is so fucking fascinating to see EA pull a move on that 2K was pulling on them when 2K was going up against Madden in Live. Fucking, this is such a crazy story.
And it's weird that they are specifically going after them when they have so many other properties that they could be, focusing on.
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of confusing to me.
I think in one respect it's hubris, right? In the fact that we're EA, and I think that for a while they took it on the chin, right? They stopped making NBA Live because NBA 2K was doing so well, and I think that was like for them a huge black eye in the same way that when they, Madden and NBA, or when Madden and NFL 2K were competing, they finally were just like, you know what? We have the exclusive rights to the NFL. And that squashed, the NFL 2K series or whatever. This is their chance of being like, we're not going to give up this ground, and we're going to fight, and we're going to try to make a basketball game that can compete and do these different things, which is commendable on one hand and then super fascinating from just a business / video game industry history perspective.
I think the free market, like competitiveness of it, is great. Let them compete. I think if they try to edge 2K out and really kind of dominate the market and make it a monopoly, that's when I don't like it.
I agree with you 100%. Don't get me wrong.
Like they have an audience, they have a community around this game. Let each game have its own audience. So as long as they're actively competing the same way that Battlefield and Call of Duty actively compete, with their separate audiences, I think it's great. But I don't want to see what happened
if EA snatches this license up.
Correct.
Or 2K has, even if it goes, role reversal to the nth degree where they
Well, if it was a role reversal, I think 2K would be, I know that this sounds probably a little hypocritical, but
you'd be okay with it?
I would kind of be okay with 2K having it. 2K needs some stuff, man.
Yeah?
They just need some stuff. I mean, EA's got a whole bunch of stuff over here.
Sure.
They've got Star Wars. They're
EA's going to be okay.
Fine.
EA's going to be okay.
Yeah. 2K could use it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they get the boost right from Rockstar, of course. Figure 2K right, it would be the 2K Sports Series, WWE Sports Series, BioShock. You have to imagine more's coming. Mafia. They're not gonna let that go away, right? And then
Borderlands, of course.
Yeah. Interesting. But I just love the idea here that EA is now on the other side of so many things that have happened that they've made happen to other people. And then finally, number 6, which apparently broke while I was doing the Kind of Funny morning show. Thank you, Andrea Renee, for putting this in here.
You're welcome.
Friday the 13th will no longer let you kill your teammates. Yes, we won, Joey. We won, Joey Noel.
Yay.
This is GameSpot's story. The publisher announced the decision in a post on Reddit. Quote, "The biggest thing we've heard from our community with the game are issues pertaining to rampant team killing that has unfortunately been abused by players on all platforms." The post begins. I believe this has been a problem, obviously, in the community I've been playing. I usually just play with you, Kind of Funny best friends now, so I get to dodge it. But I want to say it was Kotaku this week that put up a story that was really long, talking to a whole bunch of different people who are team killers. And the one guy who's like, I hit level 50 and I don't care about counselor clothes, so this is how I have fun in the game now. And he was like bragging about how he killed all the counselors and then escaped. So Jason finished, no kills or whatever. It's just like, damn, dude, you're psycho.
That's gross.
Quote, while the mechanics intent is designed to promote life or death experiences into each and every game you play, the reality has turned into a bit more of a battle royale scenario to the point our team feels a change needs to be made. Following the next game's patch, quote, public games will no longer allow counselor team killing through weapon use against other counselor players, meaning shotguns, machetes, and other weapons that camp counselors can wield will no longer have any effect on their teammates. However, players can still kill one another by running them over with the car. Quote, we decided on this as the alternative was abused during our beta, where players would simply stand in front of the car, effectively blocking it from moving, the publisher explains. Despite its initial troubles, Friday the 13th has sold almost 2 million copies since launch. A physical version for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One is releasing on Friday the 13th. The physical copy will retail for $40 and includes a Bloody Jason skin as well as a free clothing pack for playable counselors.
I think this is great.
Good for them.
I like that they're keeping the car dust in there. That makes sense.
And I'm getting caught up as I read it, right? It's interesting that they say public games will no longer allow counselor killing. So for us, Kind of Funny best friends, of course, if you're playing in a private match, that seems like we'll still have the opportunity. You can still kill Greg. Yeah, exactly. Well, who am I thinking of? You remember? He's the guy who edits all the videos and puts them up on YouTube later from our thing. He's British.
Dino?
Huh?
Odd Dino?
What? No, isn't on. Anyways, there's a very infamous moment you can catch on reddit.com/r/kindoffunny where this guy, Jason was there to kill him. Jason was about to kill me, and one of our friends shot me in the back. But I had a pocket knife. Like I was getting held up, and I was about to stab him and get away, and the other guy freaked out and shot me with the shotgun and killed me.
Whoops!
And then Jason was super mad that he didn't get the kill. But that can still happen now. Those shenanigans can still happen. I'm good about that. Torturous Stan wrote in and says, "Hey, Greg and Andrea. About a month ago, thanks in no small part to one Mr. Greg Miller, I picked up Friday the 13th, the game, and I can't stop playing. I've even come to love the game's frequent glitches because they somehow feel true to the low-budget nature of the movies." Exactly. Recently, the developers of the game announced an update that will remove the team killing thing we just talked about. While I've experienced these sort of shenanigans firsthand, some asshole shotgunned me in the face after I installed the car battery the other night. I was not aware that this practice was frequent enough in public matches that the developers felt the need to address it. What are your thoughts on this change to the game? Do you think it's the right approach to take to addressing the problem? Also, what are your thoughts on developers changing their game when the community plays it in an unexpected way? Thanks for all the hard work everyone at Kinda Funny does. I think the recent output of Kinda Funny's content has been stronger than ever. Keep kicking ass, Torturous Stan. Thank you, Torturous Stan. We agree as well. I like this change for Friday the 13th because there are a bunch of assholes being assholes.
Yeah, I mean, if it's fundamentally changing the way that you design the game to be played, it's your right as the creator of the game to change the game.
And that's the thing is I think they're recognizing a problem in there. I think it's cool, like I said, like for the accidental kills, I'm thinking of, the guy who shot me when I was getting choked by Jason, which to his credit, I would have shot too probably. I didn't say that I had a knife. I had the knife. I was getting ready to use it. And then there's been one other time where, I accidentally I think hit somebody with the car or something weird like that, and I got docked points for it. And both there's like, oh, that's fine. That's whatever. It's part of the experience. It's part of the narrative I then tell about the game. For people ruining it in public matches, they shouldn't be allowed to do that, and that's okay. And I think it is their right to get in there and do it. And I don't think it's detracting from their vision or detracting from the fun, because the team killing is what's detracting from the fun. As somebody who's on the Friday the 13th Reddit all the time looking at it, like people are pissed about that, and that has been a real problem, and it has been getting coverage. So to step in and fix it, I think kudos to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrea, Friday
Greg.
the 13th, of course, comes out on October Friday the 13th. But if I wanted to know what games came to digital mom and grop shops right now, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show host each and every weekday.
Also, can we point out how torturous it is to have these ribs over there cooking?
I know, I can smell it.
Jen's barbecuing today over there, and so it's just rib smell coming in here nonstop while we work, and I'm dying. Out today, there's a whole bunch of Nintendo stuff. Flip Wars is on Switch. Ironcast is on Switch. Ironcast, a game I talked about a lot when it came to PlayStation. A lot of fun. Try it out on Switch if you haven't. El Menage Original 3DS. Phantom Trigger Switch. ACA Neo Geo The King of Fighters 2000 Switch. Rocket Fist Switch. Soldier Blade Wii U and Final Soldier Wii U. Soldier Blade and Final Soldier. All right. New dates. We briefly talked about this yesterday as I needed extra questions. Megaton Rainfall is coming to PlayStation VR on September 26th. It's the first-person superhero game that I'd seen forever ago, like in a trailer or something. I read the blog post after it got called out yesterday. Seems really cool. Protecting Earth, fighting things in this first person. I'm like Superman, and then eventually you can fly out to the moon, fly to the sun, and do all this stuff. I'm like, all right, let's see if it actually works. Shape of the World's coming to PlayStation 4 in early 2018. And then, now here's Forza. Do you say Forza or Forza?
I say Forza.
Where's the T come in? I've never understood this.
Not Forza.
Yeah?
Forza.
Forza.
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
I still hear a T. You say it again.
Forza.
I hear the T. Forza! Motorsport 7 and Forza. Horizon 3 are getting DLC. This is via Xbox. Fans who pre-order Forza Motorsport 7 digitally will receive the Hoonigan car packs for both games at no additional cost. The Forza Horizon 3 Hoonigan car pack will become available on August 15th for free in the Xbox store for Forza Motorsport 7's pre-order customers, with Forza Motorsport 7 Hoonigan car pack available to play on September 29th for Ultimate Edition owners through early access, and October 3rd for Deluxe and Standard Edition owners. Hand of Gods Smite Tactics, this is a card game, is also going into closed alpha. Signups are live right now. I heard about that over on the Xbox news site, so you can check it out there for Xbox One. And then Super Meat Boy is headed to Switch at some point. I did not see a release date anywhere. Did you? Have you seen anything about this?
I did not, but did you know that I'm saying it in the correct Italian pronunciation?
Forza.
Forza.
Forza. You seriously don't hear a T, though?
No, yeah, you do.
Forza.
I'm saying there's not a T in the word, but you pronounce a little bit of a T sound,
but
because
not
that's
Forza.
the Italian.
Not Forza.
Not Forza. Yeah, Forza.
Forza. Fucking Xbox hiding goddamn T's and everything. Major Nitelson. Deals of the day. I read this for PlayStation Plus members, so I wanted to read it for Xbox Live now that they've confirmed. You can play For Honor for free on Xbox Live beginning Thursday, August 10th at right now. Right now you can go play it. Xbox Live Gold members can download For Honor from the Xbox Store for free and try the innovative Art of Battle system with full access to For Honor's campaign and multiplayer. The event runs until Sunday, August 13th at 11:59 p.m. PST. And then you added one in.
I did. So, Cheap Ass Gamer over on Twitter tweeted that you can get a PSVR bundle with the camera for $299.99 from Amazon with the special code PSVR Games.
All one word.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
That's a really
it's
good deal,
$100 off.
Yeah, get in there. Still can't buy that aim controller. Everybody's still pissed off about that.
Yeah.
I would say
there's so few games you can use it in. Don't be pissed off about it. Just
3 times a week though. I get a thing about it.
Really? 3 times a week?
Yes, on kindoffunny.com/KFGD. People are really pissed about the aim controller not being around. And like, when's it coming back in? I'm like, we don't know. They don't tell us that kind of information. I wish I could help you. Let's start with Lauren. Lauren writes in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD for the reader mail segment and says, hello, the busiest lady in business. Hello, the busiest lady in the business and the coolest guy in video games. I will dive right in with my burning question. I saw just another item to be exclusive content in Destiny 2. I've already seen the other news about the Pop-Tart, gross, she puts in parentheses, and Rockstar Energy drinks have stuff as well. Why is this still a thing? I remember Halo Doritos back in the day, but is this really necessary anymore? Sorry for the long message. All the love to the crew. Lauren, first off, that is not a long message. You should see some of the novels we get over here.
It's true.
What do you feel about these exclusive items you're going to get through popping a top or drinking this thing?
They did this with Red Bull when Destiny first launched, and the codes that you get really gave you such an incremental advantage. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You would have to do a lot of collecting of codes in order to affect it in a really big, meaningful way.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it's a little weird. The problem, I tweeted about my problem with this, and it's not the fact that they're pairing up with Pop-Tarts and Rockstar.
Which are delicious.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I prefer Red Bull to Rockstar, but
I've never had a Rockstar. I'm saying Pop-Tarts are delicious.
Pop-Tarts are delicious. I got mad because of the images that they put on the boxes. Did you see this key art?
No, this is where you're mad? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because they're all human.
Yeah.
And they all have like dirt and whatever, like soot on their face.
Okay.
And it just flies in the face of what Destiny Guardians are. You're not out in battle against the minions of the darkness without your helm on.
Come on. Yeah.
Helmets are such a big part of the game.
It's true.
And if you're going to do like the helmet off, then like, why are you only featuring humans? Why aren't you featuring Exo? Why aren't you featuring Awoken? Those characters are really cool. The design of those characters are really well done. I don't know why they're just putting these lame humans on the box.
They don't want to scare parents away when they're buying Pop-Tarts. They don't want little Jimmy getting all crybaby about
My
it.
Awoken looks badass. She doesn't look scary.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
My Hunter looks like Taylor Swift, so that's a better way to do it.
That's a good way to
reach out to kids. They could have put Taylor Swift on it. Yeah, exactly. Put Taylor Swift on the box. Why they do this is because video games are awesome and they want to see people like us who care enough about a video game to go buy this thing to get this item.
I mean, if the Avengers can be on a Subway wrap,
right.
like whatever.
I'll tell you right now, I haven't looked into what any of these things get us in terms of it. But if I get some kind of Pop-Tart emblem to put on,
that would be cool.
A Pop-Tart shield, I'd be all over it.
I think it's
probably just something stupid.
It is probably.
Stupid. That's why I don't even pay attention.
Stupid.
You see, you don't have to pay attention. Don't worry about it. That's how easy it is. Duarte Rosa wrote in and said, hey, Greg and Andrea. I have been reading a bit into PUBG since Kinda Funny Games Daily has started, and I don't really understand why such a simple formula is having such tremendous success. I have yet to play it. My question is simple. What is your take on why this game is such a hit and how it happened so fast? Hugs and kisses for all. Duarte. What do you take? Well, you haven't played, right?
I have not. No, because it's currently only on PC. And like
PC
I've mentioned on the show before, well, no, PC doesn't suck.
No, Andrea's mentioned on the show before, PC sucks.
No, I've not said that. I said terrible. I suck at WASD on PC. So like I'm not good using for a shooter with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
My skills are lacking severely. So I'm waiting for either official controller support. I know that you can kind of hack together controller support in PUBG now. What I'm really waiting for is the Xbox One release. And then I'm going to get in. That doesn't mean I'm not going to try it before then, but I know I'm going to get crushed. And the game's already hard enough already.
It's just, I mean, the thing is we tried it here. We filmed a couple party modes with it. I thought it was great. I already liked King of the Kill or whatever from H1Z1, so I knew I liked the idea of it. But it's that thing of like, you know, Tim's only good at Crash Bandicoot. And like he goes home and plays, right? And he's making it to the top 3 most of the time because he's great at hiding. great at being a coward. But then it gets down to, when he shoots, is he going to be able to survive? Which has also been awesome to see. Like, have you been watching like Austin and Patrick's Waypoint mornings where they play it and stuff?
I've seen some of their tweets about it.
Where Austin just won that one. Where
I saw the chicken nugget song. Yes.
That was awesome. Exactly.
It was great.
The reason I think you're asking why it's actually successful, you nail it. It's such a simple formula in the fact that it's encouraging to Tim, me, even you to an extent of like, I'm not great at WASD, I'm not great at first person shooters or whatever. And I'm saying that from, I guess, me and Tim's perspective more, right? Like, I'm great at Destiny PvE. I have a great time there.
You just said that Andy sucks at shooters. I get it.
Oh, Andy Cortez is awful. I don't think he's ever played a game. But to jump in and do that, like, when everybody's like, oh man, I'm having such a great time prestiging in Call of Duty or something, it's like, you try to jump in with those kids, you're not able to hang. Whereas with this one, it is simple. You land on a map, you can figure it out, you can feel like you're making progress because you're just hiding and staying alive and understanding, picking up little pieces and how it all works out. And then the fact of why it's getting so big is that everyone's talking about it and everyone's playing it. And it's doing that thing where my Call of Duty friends and like my Destiny friends, all these different people, I know who those people are going to be. Whereas with PUBG, it is so simple to get into and so interesting to start. I see so many people who are from different gaming sectors. You know what I mean? Gary Whitta is not the guy who's usually out there telling me about first-person shooters or stuff like this.
True.
And so here he is though, doing these streams and inviting people to watch, and like he's having a great time. And it is that thing where someone who, and no offense, I don't mean this in some horrible, fucking message board way. Someone who's as casual at that type of game like Gary is, to then see somebody like Alfredo who all he does is stream and play competitive shooters, and you get different things, you can get different experiences, and you can get in and see how all these different people are enjoying it. It's just such a great gateway into that kind of gameplay. You should give it a shot. Let's see what we got here now. Oh, okay. This one just sounded like Mike Schultz wrote in, and it sounded like he was just being mean. But I forgot why. I want to just put a mean question on it. Then he gets to the point. Here we go. Mike wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD, just like you can, and says, "Hey, Greg and Andrea, I'm curious how you feel about the Switch's obvious shortcomings and the possibility of direct competitors. Nintendo's online experience is awful. Their store sucks. Friend codes are dumb. If I wanted to use my phone for in-game chat, I'd open Discord. I can't help but feel like its form factor is the only thing they got right about the Switch. Please tell me Sony or Microsoft is going to put out a competing device that integrates their clearly better online stores, social features, and video apps, so I can have a mobile gaming platform that's more than a glorified tablet with a couple of neat exclusives. The Vita and 3DS are just too small for me, and I don't understand why this hasn't already happened. Mike Schultz, fuck you. This didn't happen because you have a bunch of dumb complaints about the Vita. That's why. You didn't support them. You didn't show that they could sell those kind of things. And so, yeah, Sony walked away from that in handhelds. Microsoft looked at them, but never going to get into them. They've gone down their own paths. And Nintendo a long time ago deviated and said, we're going to do our own thing. And that's now led us to this hybrid handheld console. That's awesome. But I don't see a future relatively soon at any point where PlayStation and Microsoft are like, we're going to do that too. Because the reason the Switch is so successful is the fact that it is the Nintendo console as well. It's not just the handheld, it's the Nintendo console. It can't do the Vita thing again of, hey, here's this cool piece of tech, and we're going to back off because we have the PlayStation, the 3/4 to worry about. We have a real quote-unquote system to worry about. This is Nintendo's eggs in one basket because that's what they're moving forward with.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about this a lot earlier this week.
We talked about, why we had problems with the Switch. I thought it was an interesting take of, will Sony or Microsoft come to the rescue and give you what you want, or what Mike wants here?
I mean, I don't know what does Mike really want?
Mike wants a Switch that, he wants the PlayStation 5 to be Switch. Where it's, hey, I can plug it and I can play it and I can take it and go. And it's everything I want. It's the online store. It's this, that, the other.
But it's not everything you want, because the Switch, while it is fantastic for portable gameplay, it's severely lacking in power. What the Xbox One and the PS4 have. I mean, there's a reason why many games on those platforms, even though they came out a couple of years ago, are never going to be on the Switch.
100%.
Like Overwatch isn't coming to Switch. So
it can't run it.
That's why, like, you can't. You're sacrificing power for portability, which is fine if you want a specific type of gaming experience on that console. But you're not going to get the games that gamers are now looking forward to, that are expecting these giant open world games that we're seeing from so many publishers these days. They just can't exist on that infrastructure.
And that's why, like, I don't see. I mean, Colin used to always say he thought the PlayStation was crazy enough to do another Vita. Like, they're crazy enough to do it again. I don't think the new PlayStation we're seeing is crazy enough to do that anymore. And I think the success both PlayStation and Xbox are finding is exactly what you're saying. There's no reason for them to sit there and be like, oh man, like if PlayStation 4 and Xbox One weren't selling and were doing poorly, and then the Switch came out and it ran away and it's having the success it's found, then it would be like, oh fuck, maybe we need to think that way. But PlayStation, with their 60 plus million units sold of PlayStation 4, are not worried about the Switch and how they're handling it.
Well, I appreciate what Colin was saying. They maybe are crazy enough, but Sony today, as a worldwide company, is not the same as Sony back then, and they frankly probably can't afford to have that kind of a loss again.
Sure.
So because the other divisions of Sony as like Sony Pictures, and Sony Music, and everything else, like they're not doing as they're not doing as well.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, they probably wouldn't want to take that gamble.
And that's, I mean, for me personally, whenever I, because I'm fucking the Vita's #1 sob story guy over here, but like for me, the heartbreaking part about the Vita is that it's just a tale of two Sonys, and it's them still struggling in the PS3 era, and then seeing what could have been with the PlayStation 4. If they would have held off on releasing the Vita until right as they launched the PlayStation 4 and found success as saying, hey, we're the fun, here's a Adam and Shoe video, and we're about gamers, so we're going to make it easy to get our games onto the system, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't. Like, the system was great for that, as I mean, there's an amazing Vita library, but you get that launch thing of, it's got a touchscreen and a back touch and like this thing and a weird bubbles, and it's like, fucking just put the XMB on it and get rid of those screens. Like, or, I understand maybe for navigation or whatever, have a front touch, but like back touch, well, we didn't need that fucking shit. And that drove up the unit price and all this different. It's just fucking hell. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't we just have a system that was all about games? Fuck! It could have been great! That's why we can't have nice things. One final question for reader mail comes from Rob. And I don't even know if it's a question as much as some thoughts. And I like that, Rob. He wrote into kindafunny.com/KFGD just like you can. It says, yesterday you spoke with Andrea on No Man's Sky and if they can recover from the bad launch. I won't go through the history of that, but I didn't get around to playing No Man's Sky when it first came out. And after all the mess, I wasn't going to. But I've seen the team work hard on updating the game. That's why I am buying it. You can say that this is a game they should have shipped. I'm sorry. You can say this is the game they should have shipped with, but they didn't. However, if they had done nothing and tried to bury it like so many other games have done in the past, then no one would ever buy their games in the future, even with a studio name change. In my mind, with all the work they've put into No Man's Sky, it at least shows me that they are committed to what they create and will make me interested in their next game, even with all the bad history No Man's Sky has created. Love the new love the new format of the show, and all the Kinda Funny crew. Rob. I thought that was cool. We don't hear enough stuff like that of people like, no, I saw everything happen, but I like what they're doing now, and I'm going to judge them on what they've done recently rather than the bad stories I've heard elsewhere.
What a reasonable line of thought.
Rob. A real Renaissance man you are. Andrea.
Yes?
Let's squat up.
Hello. Let's squat up.
Ladies and gentlemen, is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD. You give me your name, your username, your platform, and the game you need help on and why. Then I read it here. People on that platform with that game hit you up. Y'all become best friends. Y'all play together. Everybody has a good time, y'all. Mostly Jason wrote in. He's a PlayStation 4 player, and he has the ballin' ass PSN name of a Sum 41 fan. ASUM, the number 4, the number 1 fan. Fuck yes, you are. All killer, no filler. As a new high school grad, which means you're young, and I didn't realize Sum 41's still a thing, but awesome. As a new high school grad, I've always struggled to find people to play games with and become a part of this great community. I'm interested in Destiny 2, but could play anything. My PSN ID is a Sum 41 fan, then he has the laughy cry emoji. Thank you for being such a positive influence for so many people. P.S. No, he's just apologizing if you put this in the wrong way. You didn't, you got it there. Good job. So everybody hit up a Sum 41 fan if you want to play Destiny 2 on the PlayStation 4. Andrea?
Yes.
Over at kindafunny.com/you're wrong.
Yes.
People tell us all the stuff we messed up.
They sure do.
We want you to keep us honest while you watch this live on Twitch. If you're watching live, thank you so much. What did we get wrong today?
The first one, and I had to look this up because I couldn't remember what you said, but they say, while talking about Xbox during the Roper Report, you mentioned Rise of the Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider Reboot were both console exclusive. As someone at launch for Tomb Raider on PS3, it was definitely not console exclusive. Rise of the Tomb Raider was an Xbox One holiday 2015 console exclusive. It later came to PS4 and PC. The game, the Tomb Raider before that, was released in March before either of the new consoles were released. It was released on March 3rd.
I see what he's saying.
March 5th.
I see what they're saying.
For PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and Microsoft Windows. That was Tomb Raider.
Wait. Was it really just an exclusive deal on Rise?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, I trust me.
That sounds crazy, right?
I know, right? I did the same thing. I was pretty sure like the reboot came back and it was a big hullabaloo because it was exclusive, but it came out before because both of those consoles launched in the fall of 2013.
And it wasn't exclusive on Xbox 360?
Nope. 360, PS3, and Windows.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm going to look around on the internet.
You do it. Yesterday, when Greg was talking about MGS5, he said, great fucking game. Why was Kiefer Sutherland in it? In an interview with Game Trailers, Kojima stated the following. I wanted to make sure the actor who did the voice also acted out the facial expressions as well.
Yeah, okay. We're all allowed to believe that bullshit if we want to. It wasn't that. That was not the reason. I love Kojima. Kiefer Sutherland's a fine man. You and I both know that's not the real fucking story, all right? How many facial animations were... Don't fucking start with me right now.
I'm not going to read the rest of it because it's whatever. Greg said... Okay, that's the first thing. This one was also about Tomb Raider.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn.
Tales from the Borderlands released in November of 2014. The two senior design directors, Dennis Leonard and Nick Herman, as well as narrative director Pierre Choret and creative producer Adam Saracen, had joined Ubisoft in February of 2017.
I am shocked and awed by this Tomb Raider business. So it was just Rise?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, it's confusing. This one, there have been many games that have had Game of the Year editions that did not win Game of the Year. For example, Dead Island 1 and Red Orchestra 2 have gotten these editions, but they were not awarded Game of the Year by publications. I could have swore that there was specific restrictions from the platform holders about calling something Game of the Year if it hadn't won.
What's the game he just referenced?
Dead Island 1 and Red Orchestra 2.
There was some game that was bad, remember? Was it Naughty Bear? Naughty Bear put out some kind of collected edition. I can't remember if they call it. Somebody had the balls that it was a bad game that they put out and called it Game of the Year edition.
I thought that there was specific restrictions against that.
I don't know. That'd be interesting if there were. Because I can just put up games about trophies nobody cares about.
No, okay, this is Caleb, you know that this is not right. We fixed this. He said Andrea said each and every weekday instead of each and every day. Honest mistake, no big deal. We fixed this like 2 weeks ago.
We got rid of that. We totally changed the template. It's each and every weekday. Calm down, Caleb. Calm down. Can't believe the original Tomb Raider wasn't.
Just a helpful tip for Greg. If you think the Z in Forza is like the Z's in pizza, it might help you make more sense of the T sound. Linguistics.
Forza. Pizza. Oh. Pizza. Because it does sound like there's a pizza. I see it now. Forza.
Andrea, you mentioned that Destiny did the Red Bull promotion when it first launched. Correction. Red Bull did the promo for the Taken King Year 2 expansion and not the original vanilla game. Thank you for correcting me. I forgot about that. I still have my Red Bull on my set somewhere.
Do you?
My Destiny Red Bull.
Nice.
And then this is another correction about the Forza.
All right. Pizza, we got it.
I really want to hear you say pizza from now on.
Pizza. Forza.
That's
Forza.
it. Thanks, friends.
Very confusing. One special segment for you. It's called, Yeah, I Play Elder Scrolls. Yesterday we talked about these card games and who the fuck are playing them. Some of you
Lots
wrote
of
in.
people.
More people wrote in about the card games. This isn't even everybody. Than did about fucking Agents of Mayhem, just for the record. Hip Hop Anonymous wrote in and said, I've been playing Elder Scrolls Legends since it released on iOS, and I am loving it. The story mode has been a pleasant surprise with how it changes with the dynamic of gameplay. All right, good to know. Lord Ali wrote in and said, hello, Greg, and I think Andrea, because Greg didn't say who's hosting this episode. Rats. So about Elder Scrolls Legends, it's the 22nd most played game on Steam, which is not huge, but it's good enough. And I'm going to say it here, it's a way better game than Hearthstone. You should try it out. And thank you for the show. P.S. I love periods. I think he means periods in this because he actually used periods. Lord Alley did.
Or maybe...
You know, maybe just a big fan of that time of the month. I'm not going to... You know. And then a final person here, I'm just going to call some dude, said, hey, kind of funny. Got dang... Oh, no, that's why I didn't get... I was like, why doesn't this have a name? Here we go. Hey, kind of funny. Got dang Adam here. Just letting you know I'm a big fan of the Elder Scrolls Legends. It's the only collectible card game I've actually enjoyed since it's the only property with a collectible card game I give two shits about. Thanks for the great show. Keep it up, etc., etc. Well, thank you all. There you go, guys. If you like collectible card games, sounds like this Elder Scrolls one's pretty good for you fucking dorks. I'm gonna go play Cities Skylines. Andrea, thank you for joining me.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Greg. I love doing this show with you.
I love doing it with you. What are your plans? You stream tonight? It's Thursday. Is this podcast day or stream day?
It's stream day,
Gotcha.
but I'm not streaming. Steimer's streaming Dream Daddy.
Nice.
So that'll be great. I'm going to Alexa Ray's book signing.
Ooh.
So Alexa Ray Correa is now a published author. She wrote a book for Boss Fight Books about Kingdom Hearts 2. You can
Real
buy
stretch
it.
for her. She didn't know much about this source material.
She knows nothing about Kingdom Hearts. So she is doing a book signing here in San Francisco.
Nice.
If you guys are watching or
Where
you
is
catch
it?
us, it's at Green Apple Books, I believe.
Nice. In the Richmond or the one on 9th?
You know, these are things that I should have prepared in advance.
No,
God
everybody?
damn.
I'm sure you can go find her on Twitter and she'll tell you right there.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, each and every weekday, except tomorrow, Big Kev Dog's getting married. We're taking him to Vegas for a bachelor party.
Vegas.
We jump into the nerdy video game news you need to know about. Get dirty with it. Go into your questions and have a great time. We hope you enjoy it. Remember, you can watch live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames like so many of you do right now. I'll read subs and tips after this. Remember, if you're watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, the full play of Batman episode 1 is up there. And if you're just listening on a podcast, thank you so much. Drive safe. Enjoy your time here at the supermarket. Might I recommend pickles? That's what I think about when I'm listening to podcasts, when I'm picking up. Usually I'm over in the dairy section getting some milk and I'm like, I need pickles too. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back on Monday with Tim Gettys. Until then, it's been our pleasure to serve you.